I am sitting here with Julio Ojeda-Zapata, the personal tech columnist for Pioneer Press, and a blogger, a long-time blogger. So Julio, can you tell me how you started blogging?
Oh gosh, I think I've been blogging for, it's been more than a decade for sure, and I was blogging before I even was aware of the term blogging. The term blogging might have been invented at that point, but I was not aware of it. But I was doing something very much like blogging. If I covered a particular tech story for the paper or went to a tech event in New York City or whatever, I would file hourly or many times daily dispatches to my newspaper's website in sort of a reverse chronological diary-like format.
Blogging.
You know, that's blogging. I just didn't think, blogging at the time, but it was essentially blogging,
Right. And so then you started a blog, properly speaking, whatever, with an RSS feed and everything, as separate from the Pioneer Press site, but part of your job, right?
Well, yes and no. The folks in charge of movable type, I think they call 6 Apart, created an easy-to-use blogging service called Typepad. This was a long time ago now, many years ago, and I perked up immediately. Blogging, a posting service that's easy to use, isn't very complicated like movable type. I'm all for that, and so I roughly around the time Typepad was created was when I created my first Your Tech weblog, and I've sort of been doing it ever since. And during that time span, it was primarily hosted on Typepad, although recently I brought it internally at the paper, and that's movable type based.
Okay. And how do people find it?
You can just go to yourtechweblog.com.
Okay. And so you've been blogging for a long time, as far back as I can trace it. It's 2004, but you even had it even further than that. So we'll find that out, the precise date. So you're also a huge microblogger. So tell me about how you started using Twitter, and first of all, what you thought of it when you first heard of the concept.
Well, as a tech writer at the paper, when I hear of some tech trend or social media trend, I'll say, oh, that's kind of interesting for a story, I'll check it out, kick the tires on it, write a story, and then sort of move on, which is what happened with Twitter. I tested Twitter, tried Twitter, created an account just, for research purposes. The first story I did on Twitter was kind of interesting because we took a section of our paper, and on the front page of the section we replicated the Twitter interface as it appeared at that time and did the story sort of in tweet form.
Nice. I
still have that. It's kind of interesting. And but then I kind of moved on. I thought, oh, this Twitter thing, it's kind of cute, but it's not really for me, and I just kind of moved on. But then I kept hearing about this Twitter thing, and so I revisited it and discovered that Twitter is like nicotine. If you do it long enough, it gets in your bloodstream, and I've sort of been doing it ever since. I'm sort of a Twitter addict now. All
right, and you actually wrote the book on it.
I wrote a book about Twitter's business-related uses, and the book is called Twitter Means Business.
Twitter Means Business. And how can people find Twitter Means Business?
TwitterMeansBusiness.com.
All right. Yeah. Easy enough. You also have a Postgres account. So how are you using Postgres, and what do you think of it?
Well, as I've matured as a digital citizen, initially just blogging on Typepad was kind of overwhelming, but as I've matured as a digital citizen, I've kept adding streams of information to my arsenal, as it were. So my Your Tech weblog is for strictly tech related stuff off my beat for the paper. Twitter is kind of a mishmash of personal and professional stuff in little bite-sized pieces. But I'm a total nerd, science fiction nerd, comic book nerd, the whole deal. And I had tried to post things about comic books on my tech blog, but it wasn't a really good fit. And finally, it dawned on me this Postgres thing came along at the right time. Postgres is kind of a streamlined Tumblr-like blogging service, and I realized Postgres is really easy to post things. If in my RSS feeds I come across something about a Superman comic book or something, hey, this is cool. Just kind of throw it. It just takes a couple of seconds. Throw it on my Postgres, and I've been doing that for a while now. I have this very nerdy Posterous blog. The name of the blog is, it's a Spanish word, bombillo, which is kind of a long explanation, but it's basically a riff on my high school nickname, which was basically, nerd, you're a nerd!
Nice.
And my school classmates, you know, they would call me a nerd, not in a pejorative manner. It was very affectionate.
Right.
But I was basically a total nerd when I was in high school, and I've
Very good.
been one ever since. So.
And your column at the Pioneer Press is called what?
Tech Test Drive.
And when can people find it in the paper?
Oh, well, if you go to my blog, there's a link, or you can go to twincities.com/tech-test-drive.
Okay. And on Twitter you are?
J-O-J-E-D-A, J Ojeda.
And you got any advice for people who might be thinking about blogging?
Well, sort of figure out what you want to say and what kind of format you want to say it in. Do you want like a really complex blog with a lot of bells and whistles, or do you want, you know, something simple to just kind of throw information up on, and, you know, based on that, make your choices. Like, if you want something really easy and streamlined, Tumblr and Posterous are for you. But if you're a tinkerer and you want a blog that just has all, you know, all the bells and whistles, maybe WordPress or Squarespace.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.